Welcome to another episode of Brothers, Battles, and Bounty, where family, business, and your journey to success converge. We are your hosts. I am Andreas.
I'm Martin.
I'm Stefan.
And we are here to share with you our life experiences as business owners, partners, brothers in a manufacturing firm in Chicago. And with that, our topic today is
Let me do a shout out first.
All
Then you
right,
can get
cool.
your thoughts
I'm
together.
just all nervous. Yeah, go ahead. We'll start while I figure it out. Thank you.
I'd like to make a shout out to Kyle DeFina, aka Delecti, who's been watching all of the podcasts and giving me some great feedback. Appreciate it. Would also like to make a shout out to Jim Brown, who also has been watching our podcasts and also sharing some really awesome feedback. And just want to thank them for doing it. And there's many others too, but thanks, guys.
Yeah, cool. So I happen to know Jim Brown as well, lifelong friend of yours, and it reminds me of a song, and that's if I may I hit this point?
Go ahead.
Okay. He's bad Jimmy Brown, baddest man in the whole damn town, meaner than a junkyard dog. All right, that's for you, Jimmy. Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, I couldn't help it. I
Very,
don't know.
he'll
Nice.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I think you will. Hopefully. Yep. He's probably never going to listen again, right?
Don't quit your day job.
Right. So the topic of today is family business roles, how family members get the roles that they have, and how we structure the overall business to be as optimally run as it can. So,
You had mentioned earlier about, how Dad, the structure, how he emphasized, family, you're in it together. I don't know if you can expand on that a little bit. It was a great point when we were off camera that, would be.
So what I believe you're emphasizing is when Dad, Anton, the founder, was the president of the company, he ran it like a family business. And he looked at it as he's the father and he's creating this business to provide a living for himself clearly and to provide a living for his sons. He had trust issues because of his history and things, and figured he could trust and work with his family more than other people because a lot of people let him down throughout. And so the structure he had was putting people in place that basically are family. And to him, family meant a lot. The evolution of the structure went from it being family oriented to now, as we started to grow, we had established more order and structure, and we made it more corporate America structured, which is kind of like from Dad making the decisions, we all get together, here's what we're going to do, here's the marching orders, we go do it, to more, we're going to engage our board of advisors, our strategic planning. We're going to have budgets. We're going to have, objectives on a quarterly basis.
We're going to hire outside
hierarchy,
managers.
hire outside managers, professionals. So that I think is what you're referring to. So fast tracking to the corporate structure, which is the relevancy of what we're dealing with today. How did we go about, as brothers and family and partners, go about structuring it the way that it is? How did we know who to pick?
I just
with
remember,
what roles?
Obviously in the beginning, we weren't large enough to have multiple, managers, hiring outside people. It was, the four of us. So we were able to pretty much, handle most of the details. But then once we started, expanding, growing, doubling the sales, we realized that we needed to hire people to start doing some of the things we were doing internally. And I think that realization is where we kind of turned the corner because of the trust issue. We can trust each other for the most part, but then you hire somebody from the outside that's not family, now you're putting your trust in someone, that's, handling a portion of your business that could either make or break you for the most part. You know, they're
Right.
talking to customers. How do we know they're talking to the customer the way we want them to talk to? When they're out on the road, how do we know that they're handling themselves like we would handle ourselves? You know, it's different when you own a business, and how you manage your time is different than than most people that are hired.
Right.
Um, and what I've realized is we knew that. So when we looked at managers from the outside and started interviewing, we tried to find people that had that internal drive of, yes, this isn't my company, but I treat it like it's my company. I work here. I do everything as if it's my own company. How many, of our managers here say that today?
Yeah.
We have many of them.
So
That's the, the turning point that I think for us was huge, was hiring outside managers, at the same time looking for the qualities that's internally in these individuals that match up with our values and our goals.
Exactly. And getting them to feel like
They're part
the
of
family is the company, where we are family, but more importantly, the company is the family that we're representing, and making them feel part of that, which is, to your point, was a selection criteria that really helped to leverage a lot of stuff.
So thoughts that come to mind is that Dad, Anton Sr., was a fighter. Okay. He was very driven. His life was very hard. He came here and had a warrior mindset. And I remember at a very early age, him influencing me to have that fighter spirit, that warrior spirit. And as I grew up, I kind of fell in love with military history, just hearing all the stories about the war and different things. And so I read every book I could get my hands on. And I realized I had a love for sales and marketing, and the analogy between business and warfare. I made it very early in my life, playing war games and doing different things, establishing strategy and developing my skill set. And business to me has always been kind of a war, and family and being, like a clan or a tribe or a group, was kind of my mindset from the get-go. And as we're thinking, it was instilled in me from Dad when I was just a young guy. And I've always focused all of my energy, all of my time on customers and sales and prospects. I didn't get too involved in operations. I did where I needed to, but I had the luxury or the blessing to be able to focus my skill set and develop my skill set in that area, because you guys handled all the other stuff.
So in the selection process, it was kind of a given that you were going to be in the sales and marketing. I mean, it wasn't even like a question.
Expand on that.
So we had other people prior to you coming in. There were other people that kind of oversaw the sales process. And when you came in, it was kind of like, well, you definitely need to be in charge of sales and marketing. It was your forte, your niche, your core competency. And it also was something that you voluntarily wanted to do. So it was wasn't really a big a long shot to say you're going to be in the sales and marketing realm. In business, all in all, there's the three main disciplines, which is sales, operations, and finance. And obviously there's variations thereof. And for the three of us, it was you were sales, you were operations, and I was finance administration. Anton oversaw it as the overseer of all these functions because he had responsibility in it.
Strategically.
So it kind of fit in pretty smooth. There was a little overlap between Anton and I initially on the administrative ends, but he quickly, realized he delegated things to me. So
some overlap with you and I with sales and marketing.
Sales and marketing,
kind of
right?
integrating.
Right. Well, I remember the time where I was growing the administrative department, the purchasing department, and we hired somebody to take over stuff. And years later, the person got to capacity where they could take over my role. And I'm like, well, you could take over my role, but now we got to figure out something what I'm going to do. I remember talking to you, said, hey, Steph, I'd like to get involved in sales and customer service. And you're like, what? What do you mean? I said, I have a desire to do it. And I remember going to dinner with you and talking about it. And first you were kind of, from my recollection, a little taken aback. But then after we talked about it, he said, I think we can get this to work. So that's when I kind of got into the business development end. But you naturally eschew in on the operations.
That was always part of my genetic code, I think.
Yeah. So,
and, talking about, the trust issue that we mentioned, earlier, we also had to, when we were choosing, vendors and professional services, trust became a big factor in that also. It's almost as critical as the partners in the business, because when you go to battle, you not only need your people, but you need your allies, your reinforcements, and vendors. We always considered vendors a major part of our success.
Do you remember the transition we went through, though? Initially, we had certain professional institutions taking care of the accounting, taking care of the legal, but there wasn't a universal sense amongst us brothers partners that they were had our best interests in mind. And it got to a point where we evolved to start to be able to voice to say, hey, I don't really have a warm and fuzzy trust feeling with this particular professional institution. Initially, it was defensive and what do you mean, But then once we all collaborated, joined forces and say, we're going to, in a unified way, select those that complement our culture, our organization, the ones we can trust.
And the one that was pretty obvious to all of us was when we had the professional service here at Trendler, and we were talking to them and we're trying to figure out how to make more money. And the person's,
it was the accounting firm.
The accounting firm's advice was, well, if you want to make more money, just reduce your salaries.
Right. If you want the company to make more money,
If you want to make more money, reduce your salaries. And we're just like,
make the bottom line look better.
I remember I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
But the person was and that's after that, we all realized this company we can't trust. This is not,
That's not professional advice. Yeah.
It's not. You guys remember that?
I remember like it was yesterday.
I think we sent the email right away.
I think before the end of the day, right?
It was done.
That was actually before email. We sent them a certified letter.
By a fax.
A fax.
Send them a fax.
Send them a fax. So that was an evolutionary process. And then after that, we all concurred that any professional service, we need to upgrade all, have them complement.
We need to interview them, all of us.
Who can we trust? And I think, I know it has definitely been a major contribution to our growth and profitability for sure.
Yeah.
And because we instilled in them the trust, which means they could share what they think without fear of,
reprisals.
Having it right. And they could be honest and open and transparent about different things. Yeah. So that's a good point. That's a really good point.
And same thing with, employees. We used to have whoever that person was going to be working for, they would be the one that would interview and then decide who to pick. And we changed that a long time ago to where, no, we want the whole team to interview this person and make sure, that this person is a good fit for everybody. And,
I'd like to expand on the part of the what and the why operations, what and why admin finance, because expand on your backgrounds a little bit more if we can, right? University of Wisconsin and what you studied and how you got to that niche or specialty,
right?
Because it's like family, org, what are you doing? Okay. Why did you choose that? Get into a little more of the why. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes great sense. Makes great sense.
For me, used to come down and work in the summers, and Dad would always put us in the plant. He wouldn't put us in the office right out of the gate. He'd put us down in the plant.
Well, that's how we started. Never in the office.
No,
no.
It was always in the plant.
Yeah.
And I just remember, as a young man, being out in the plant and just seeing, stuff being stamped and made out, coil of steel, and then comes out a finished part. It just always intrigued me. I was like, it was intriguing.
What age? What age would that
Eighth
start?
grade.
Okay, so
So
you're how old?
so adding to what you were
I don't know,
14,
whatever, eighth
14 and
grade.
8th grade.
12,
grade.
13.
So
yeah.
adding to that, when Marty was in high school, it was such a passion. Remember your Trans Am? He bought this beat up old Trans Am, good body, decent bones, and he literally rebuilt the engine, put forged pistons in there.
Yeah, me and a buddy
he
of mine who
rebuilt
was
it in
doing
our
it.
garage.
And
And
we
so
did the
that
whole
mechanical
thing.
ability
Okay.
was like natural.
It just was
inquisitive.
always like, I always liked to work
Tinker
on
around.
things and grind metal and do it. And, then
Did you say
I mentioned
grind?
grind. Yeah. And then Dad then put me in the tool room for a summer.
Okay.
I enjoyed that, but that wasn't my,
Okay.
that wasn't my passion. I learned a lot by being in there. I always wanted to be out in the plant.
Okay.
I always wanted to be out in the operations. I wanted to be running a machine. I wanted to be scheduling. I wanted to look at how do you know what to buy? How do you, like forecasting, and it just it intrigued me, and I focused on that, and then when I graduated high school and was going to go to college, I really wanted to see what schools focused on all the aspects, like
Of manufacturing.
of manufacturing.
Metal
Because
work.
I liked it all. I liked the metal. We were doing wood. We were doing plastics, and I finally found University of Wisconsin Platteville
Mhm.
that had an engineering program that didn't focus just on one thing. It focused on all the areas of manufacturing.
Mhm.
And so I applied, I got accepted, and I got my degree there. And it's been in my blood. To this day, I love going out in the plant. I'm out there constantly. As you guys know, the new technology that comes out, I'm on top of it. I'll look at machines. We're doing the digital printing.
Well,
like what you see
if I
back
could,
here.
when just want to add,
Yeah.
when I was the president, Marty was in charge of operations. He automated all the presses. All the presses used to be manually fed. Automated all of them. Brought in plastic injection molding. We used to buy all of it.
Yep, I
Got
remember.
the machines,
The
high
powder
tech.
coating.
The powder coating, we used to outsource all of it, did the powder coating, the tube fabrication, brought all that in. The welding, he brought in automated welding, the tube bending automated, developed the fixtures, oversaw the tool room, developed more intricate progressive dies to consolidate the
'Cause
number.
that's
so
the
that
stuff
was,
that
and he
really
just
gets me
excelled at
motivated.
it.
So mentor, coach, someone,
Dad.
something.
It was
Dad,
Dad. Definitely was
expand
Dad.
on that a little
It
bit.
was- it
When
was
did he enter? When did you kind
Eighth
of?
grade, Dad kind of, when he put me on the plant, he talked to me about it.
Okay.
So Dad was one. Lee Ball
Okay.
was another one. He was my supervisor in the tool and die area.
Shout out to Lee Ball right
Shout
now.
out to Lee Ball.
That's huge. Yeah.
And then it was Matty Rossabello.
Another
who was
shout out
the,
to Maddie. I don't know if he's still alive.
I don't
but
know. He was the plant manager
supervisor,
or
yeah.
plant supervisor. I learned a lot from
Maddie
him.
Rossabello. Yeah.
Juan Perez, who's the VP of operations currently at Trendler.
Wow.
Cool.
What about Nick Pontarelli? Was
Nick,
he?
no,
Not so much.
I don't
That was
remember
before
him
you.
too much. Yeah. And Juan Gradia Senior. I learned so much from that guy. He retired a couple of years ago. Just all the key employees out in the plant that were there at the time, they just showed so much respect for Trendler and for Dad that they just put me under their wing and taught me everything that I know today. And it's a passion. And like I was saying earlier, I'm always looking at technologies to bring in. Like I mentioned, we're doing the digital printing for logo seating now.
Yeah.
Looked at that technology. Did our logo that's in the back.
Yeah. Look at that.
on the printer. So looking at all these things, just really is in my blood.
Cool.
And it probably was from having me by the press when I was a little kid.
There you go.
I think so.
Oh, boy.
I think so.
I
A little
think
of the
it-
oil might have spritzed on me or something, you know.
It's like anointed with machine oil.
Right.
Yeah.
So transition over to the administrative finance. What kind of triggered you? What got you jazzed about that?
For me,
Mentor,
ever since I can
coach?
remember as a kid, I've always been super organized. I mean, to the point where it like ridiculous.
You were. I remember.
And I'm like, I used to collect Hot Wheel cars. You know, I loved Hot Wheel cars. In fact, we got them from Trudy
Trudy
Offenbacher, our cousin.
Mhm.
Shout out to Trudy. What up,
Okay.
Trudy? She had every time we saw her, she'd take us to have fun.
She worked at Osco or
I don't
Jewel or
even
something.
know how
she
I got-
worked at Toys R Us or something where she
So
was
she
able
would
to get,
buy these Matchbox cars, the coolest ones ever.
Yeah.
And I had a collection of them, like 20 of them, and I put them on my dresser. Literally had them all lined up, equidistant apart, angled, just very organized, right?
I
He would-
remember coming home one
and then I
night
would
in
take
a
'em
drunken
out.
stupor and stepped on one.
I would
and you were
take
just
them
a little
out and
kid.
smash them
He
with
would
hammers.
smash them. Every time someone touched them, I'm like, somebody touched my, So I mean, so very organized to the point of extreme. And so as I went to college, I decided to focus on business because I knew I want to get into business and mathematics as a minor because the organization, and it was just a natural fit. I mean, I did awesome at it. I was very good at it. Just felt natural growing up in a family business. It was just kind of like a natural segue. I intended to go to law school and the interesting thing was I never wanted to be a lawyer. I just was fascinated by their ability to articulate ideas and communicate. And there was no other standard that I thought was as impressive as attorneys in the, anyway, long and short, having a business minor, and then I went to grad school for business, got my master's in business administration. I mean, it's just a natural fit on all the business aspects, the organizational development, the finance. And I mean, I can go on.
You've
and on.
always been like super focused on that.
Yeah. And
As
so
far back as I can remember.
yeah, so it was a natural segue. So how about yourself in regard to the sales, marketing, and where did that?
As a young guy, when I went to college, I tried the business classes and accounting, and I took accounting 3 times, dropped it all 3 times. I got to a certain point, and I just couldn't keep it up. And I realized that I really loved the history, geography, the soft sciences, and so I ended up getting my degree in history and a minor in political science and special education, and I loved it. And reading, writing, researching, communicating, interacting with other human beings instead of numbers. But I have to do a shout out to a special guy, Ken Rank, who introduced me. I was in the Rotary Club as a young guy. He took me under his wing, and he was a Dale Carnegie coach. And
Dale Carnegie's awesome.
He
man.
back when I was 24, got me involved in Dale Carnegie, made me a Dale Carnegie assistant for him in the classes he taught for about 10 years, which completely changed my life. And shout out Ken Rank. Thank you if you're out there. And I fell in love with sales and the whole process of human relations and how to win friends and influence people by, just the whole Dale Carnegie thing. Amazing. Served me in everything. And, we went into the retail part of the business, training people, selling, just the importance of revenue generation has always been a passion of mine. And to this day, I'm a student continuously trying to learn and improve product development. Marketing, digital marketing has been a big love right now, which, getting leads, getting prospects, but I've been spending a lot of time on the marketing and look forward to transitioning and freeing myself up from the marketing to get back into the actual selling role, because the opportunities that we have to do that with a team of folks, obviously, working on, largest check concept that we've learned and just growing our business, doubling our business in the next 5 years is what I'm excited about and getting my hands involved.
And it's just, you're the best, man. I mean,
Right there.
What did you say?
I said you're the best. Come on, all 3. Let's go.
That's fun. Okay.
Yeah, and I tell this to people all the time. I'm like, there is nobody that I can think of anywhere in the world that I would want as my VP of sales and marketing as you. I'm telling you, you're the best. You're the best.
Thank you.
I've learned everything from you, and we joke about it,
All right, guys, you want to
but-
maybe take
yeah,
this
anyway.
Hold me.
offline? Yeah, that's very nice.
No,
I feel
just-
really
it's-
touched. I feel really touched.
It's-
So, considering
Is there
the
any tissue
topic
anywhere?
and the organization structure
Tickle
and the family,
Tickle fight.
the organization of a family business, it's pretty evident. I mean, after talking about it, how things panned out the way they did,
Yeah.
and
Trust.
what roles and the
Trust.
trust and the people that we have working with us, for us, more with us. It's really impressive, and having had the discussion, it's pretty apparent why and how. I want to just make a mention about Anton and his role as chairman of the board, having had the oversight of this evolutionary process all these years. He has developed his skill set naturally to be able to now function in the capacity of strategic planning, oversight, being able to see each of the functions and how they integrate. So I just want to just acknowledge him and his natural ability to serve in that capacity.
I'm going to expand on that. His unique ability of running the board meetings and the books.
Strategic planning.
Well, but
Board.
I'm talking specifically the board, and the board books are such a resource because we have 20 years of board
he takes
books.
minutes of everything. There's
Everything
nothing that he
that's
misses.
documented. We have
What's the governing body that assures the
Robert's
board?
rules.
No, well, yes, and the board. It's mandated that we have minutes from all of our board
Correct.
meetings, and a lot of companies just
yeah.
rubber stamp that process.
Correct.
They'll say, "Oh, here's the minutes," blah blah blah.
Correct.
We literally have corporate minutes that are
Yes.
reflective of whatever. I mean,
For a company our size,
Yeah,
the amount of
it's-
detail.
so and
is
that's
because
directly attributed to him.
his
talent and
unique ability and his love for doing it.
Yeah.
And
Let's give
he's-
him a round of applause.
All right,
Anton.
Anton. Shout out,
Good,
baby.
brother.
Have
Yeah.
another piece of strudel for me.
Awesome. So with that being said, again, I think that kind of wraps up.
Yep.
Any closing comments, you
No.
guys? No. Well, to me, it's pretty apparent of the trust roles, who's in the positions, why they're in there, and the employees we have in the company. We could talk ad nauseum about all their unique abilities in the roles they're in as well. So kudos to that and our insight and ability to pick based on qualifications. That concludes another episode of Brothers Battles and Bounty. And we just want to thank all of our subscribers and want to continue to encourage more subscribers. And please share your thoughts, ideas, and input. This is really, really helping us with the content and what we're trying to deliver specifically for you. And with that being said, until next time,
Take care.
adios.
Take care.
Ciao.